Today's Country Froggy 92.9. It's Amber and Tanner in the morning.
Right now on the phone is Sheriff Mark Essick. Sheriff Essick announced yesterday that his office would no longer enforce the public health order. Sheriff Essick, can you tell us more about your statement from yesterday?
Well, sure. There's been a lot of confusion over the last 24 hours about my statement, and I'm glad to be able to be on your show to clarify a couple things for you. First and foremost, our condolences do go out to those members of our community who have lost loved ones during this event. But the most important thing I think that your listeners should take away from this is that we are not abandoning our effort to do the public health order. We're simply falling back on the governor's orders as a more appropriate framework. We've just seen so many different health orders come out locally in our county over the last several weeks. Sometimes multiple health orders are issued in a week. Very confusing, and they're not always in line with what's going on in the state and with our neighboring counties. So that's kind of the direction we're going, is not abandoning this. We are not walking away recklessly, but we're trying to bring some reasonableness to the overall enforcement here.
With that being said, and, businesses starting to reopen, everyone adjusting to this new normal, how do you suggest that people stay safe and protect themselves from the coronavirus right now?
Well, I'll tell you what, you're still going to see our Sonoma County Sheriff's deputies wearing masks. They're going to be wearing gloves. They're going to be using all the appropriate PPE, as we call it, personal protective equipment, when they're interacting with the public. So I would encourage members of Sonoma County to continue to do those things. Those are ideas and guidelines suggested at the state level by the governor's office. So maintain your social distancing of 6 feet. Wear gloves, sanitize your hands frequently, and make sure you wear a mask when you can't maintain that social distancing. These are all simple steps that we can take that severely mitigate the spread of the disease, and I think everybody should take that personal responsibility.
Right now on the phone, we have Sheriff Mark Essick. And Sheriff Mark Essick, I might be paraphrasing here, and correct me if I'm incorrect, but in your statement, you stated that the Public Health Office hasn't exactly been clear with their information to you. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, sure. I think as a public official, I make some big decisions for our employees here at the Sheriff's Office, over 700 employees, and the people that we serve in the unincorporated areas of the county. And to be able to make those decisions, we need information. And so some of my concern that I expressed in my letter is that there's not a lot of information getting out there. Some of the things that I think are very pertinent to know for public officials is how many current hospitalizations do we have? How many people are on ventilators? What is the rate of spread? What kind of symptoms are we seeing? Are we seeing a lot of asymptomatic people, or are we seeing a lot of sick people? And if those simple questions could be answered without violating anybody's medical privacy rights, that would really help public officials and policymakers to make the right decisions. And unfortunately, that information has not been forthcoming.
So with new information coming out, or maybe say if you were to get this data that you're looking for, would you be making adjustments to this enforcement, or will things change? As I know things are fluid.
Oh, certainly. I mean, I will say that Dr. Mace has done a great job. Over the last 10 weeks, she implemented some measures that absolutely crushed the curve and made those right decisions. Really, I guess the bottom line is what I'm saying is it's been 10 weeks. We have crushed the curve. We've seen significant declines in our positive test rates that are being returned to us. So we have to constantly reevaluate. And, I am not above that myself. If we see if we get the information as requested and we see differences or increases in the spread of the disease, I'll be the first one out there backing up Dr. Mays and saying, yeah, we need to do some more restrictions and maybe buckle down. But until that happens, it's hard for me to make that decision as a public policymaker.
We saw right after your statement yesterday that Santa Rosa's police chief, Navarro, released a statement kind of contradicting what you were saying in Santa Rosa. Have you spoke with Police Chief Rainier Navarro?
Certainly. So I was on a call with him yesterday, so he knew about my decision as we were processing through it. And I understand every police chief has to report to a city manager and to a city council, and oftentimes their actions are constrained by the politicians they work for.
Right.
And I have utmost respect for our police chiefs in this county, including Chief Navarro. But as an elected official, as your sheriff, I have a little bit more freedom to speak my mind. Mm-hmm. And I believe that the constituents of Sonoma County, the people who support the sheriff's office, expect me to speak my mind and be out there and be an advocate for them. So that's what I'm doing.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm sure you answered a lot of questions the people of Sonoma County have been asking, and we just really appreciate everything you do, and we hope you stay safe.
Thank you. Thanks for helping us get the message out there.
Thank you, Sheriff. Have a great one.
This is Today's Country, Froggy 92.9.